Midnight has changed how gearing works, and it's brilliant. I've actually been talking about a few ways this morning of how to gear out this season that's different from any other season we've had before, and it looks like Bellular caught on to a few of those changes as well. Here we go, get level 285 plus. Skip every mistake. Let's check this one out here from Bellular.
There's a lot to gearing in World of Warcraft. With every new endgame system, we get more rules and more layers of complexity, but the good news is that this time round, I think Blizzard knows what they're doing far more. They've solved a lot of the War Within's woes with some real smart surgical fixes, but there still are a ton of moving parts. The good news is that gearing is in a great place right now though, and what we're going to do in today's video is map out everything you've got to do, nice and simple, so you can get your characters ready.
Perfect, just like how we like it.
Step 0 is Liadrin's quest. Remember, the quest you get from her gives you a crafting spark every week. So, pick this up first thing each week and finish it while you're doing other content. And I'll talk a bit more about crafting later on because we don't want to do that right now. First, we want to go and do content. Okay, the world boss. You know what a world boss is? It's the big dude on the map that gets zerged down. But what you may not know is you're actually guaranteed a piece of champion gear. Now,
he got to preface this. Champion Warbound gear. So basically you get fucking garbage for your random alt that you don't play anymore. That's what happened to me. I'm still disappointed about that. I really am. Getting that offhander for a mage that I never play, pretty disappointing considering I'm running on my Death Knight. He's the only class I play.
Unfortunately, it is Warbound. And
I should have waited. It's not a pre-watch, okay? Clearly, if I had pre-watched it, I would have known he was about to say that, and I wouldn't have paused at the time that I did. That's a bit awkward, that I just paused and literally said what he was going to say. That was unintentional. My bad. I got to have a little bit more patience. Let Bellular speak.
It can be for any spec, just anything on its loot table, not just what you're currently playing. So it's partially there for alts, but you could get lucky and find that it's useful on your main. So kill the boss, and I guess pray that you can use the drop. And once you're done praying, let's talk about the other kind of pray.
Yeah, ChatGPT summarized.
The real step one is pray, and it's not first just because it's new. It's designed to go before delves in your weekly flow. You see, each of your first 2 runs per difficulty gives you a gearbox, and this week you should be able to get renown.
I was kind of talking shit about the pray system early on, saying I don't think it's going to be relevant once the season goes live, and these vault, this is actually freaking good. Getting hero track out of the vault, that's not bad considering like once you unlock the Nightmare Prey system, time efficiency wise, it might be better than running a delve because Prey won't take you that long if you just go around and zerg shit down and get things done. So there you go, 259 item level from your vault.
Gearbox, and this week you should be able to get Renown 4 with Astrolore, and that will unlock Nightmare difficulty, which will get you champion gear. And if you're not at Renown level 4, just go do some hunts until you are. Now, the key thing is that the boxes you get from these have also got plenty of coffer key shards, and you're going to need those for your bountiful delves later on. Yeah. But the major reason to do this first is that Astrolore has a new weekly quest. Finishing 3 Nightmare Prey hunts for him will net you something extremely valuable, and that is 20 hero crests, and a neat little thing called a Beacon of Hope.
Yeah.
The Beacon of Hope is a usable item that summons Nullius to you when you're in a delve, and that forces the otherwise random encounter with him. Now, if you fend him off, he will leave behind a box, and that box will have champion gear and a Trove Hunter's Bounty. The Trove Hunter's Bounty...
Yeah, this Trove Hunter's Bounty was a very much an RNG piece last season. What this Beacon of Hope essentially does is it makes it a guaranteed drop. And getting the Trove Hunter's Bounty is important because when you use it on your next delve, you're getting a piece of hero gear out of that shit if you're running a +8.
Is quite important.
So
basically,
save this for
it's how you get
the
best possible delve loot. The way it works is that when you use it, the next delve you complete will have a hidden trove at the end with even bigger loot. And if you do a tier 8 or above delve, it'll give you a bit of hero gear. Now, you can also get the Bounty and Nullius encounter randomly, but the benefit of Astrolore's Beacon is it's guaranteed. Just exactly whenever you use it, which is a nice little efficient path. Yeah. So, work your way up to tier 8 in your delves, go into one of your choice, summon in Nullius for an ass-kicking, loot your Bounty, and get ready to do more delves. So let's talk about delves.
Yeah, get
Step
Bountiful.
3, Bountiful Delves. Every day, 4 delves will be bountiful for 1 run on that character. And at tier 8, the good news is they really are...
By the way, quick tip here, do not fucking, because as somebody who's literally behind as shit on this, I have to know, do not you waste your Bountiful Delves on anything below a tier 8. So I'm at tier 4, I think still. I got to go into Delves and finish that shit out. But I should not be pumping up to tier 8 and a Bountiful Delve. That would be freaking stupid. Wait until I'm tier 8 and then start using the tier 8 or higher on Bountiful Delves.
For 1 run on that character. And at tier 8, the good news is they really are quite easy with Valeera set to healer, and they reward you with real juicy loot. You'll get champion gear at 2 out of 6 and a handful of champion crests to upgrade that gear with. Now, once you make your way up to tier 11, they'll even drop a few hero crests. But the thing is, you'll need one of these restored coffer keys to open the bountiful boxes that spawn at the end of a bountiful delve, which of course is another reason to do pray first, because you'll get loads of this resource. Now, every 100 coffer key shards will automatically convert into a full key whenever you enter a delve. And to get you started, Lita will hand you 200 shards as a part of the delve intro quest for this season. If you want more, you'll just have to go and farm them, but the good news is they come from basically everything else in the world, so world events, prey, special assignments, world quests, and I found even just killing rares. And this time round, the cap is 600 shards a week, so that's 6 keys, 6 big chances for loot. Now, once your number turns red, that's basically Blizzard cutting you off for the week because you will have hit the cap.
Yeah, 600 is the cap. It takes 100 shards to make a key, so you get 6 keys through the shard system every week.
Those shards. But by the time that happens, your Great Vault World Row will now be full as well. That's by doing 3 Nightmare Prey Hunts and at least 5 Tier 8 Delves. You may have seen what Blizzard have done there. They've basically just made the numbers add up to
it all works out perfectly.
Vault, so
it's actually
kind of
great.
Crafty. It's basically all one smooth weekly flow that's a hell of a lot better than the old delve grinding we used to have to do.
Yeah.
Now, once your Delver's Journey has reached level 2, you will want to work up to doing 3 Tier 11 delves, not just Tier 8 or aboves. And you want to do those Tier 11s because those will get you gilded stashes. Now, the gilded stashes don't have gear, but they do have hero crests.
So essentially what Blizzard's done this season is they've kind of interconnected all these systems now to give you like a flow state of what you should be doing every week. It makes, this is actually like a really good way they've done it. It completely makes sense in your mind. Like, okay, new week, do the prey, get your coffer keys, do the delves, fill out your vault through that, and then start jumping into, your Mythic Plus and rating.
You want for our upgrades. And once your Delver's Journey is renowned 4, they'll even start dropping myth crests, which really is the best thing that we can get here. Okay, a few more little tips on delves before we move on. So, if you see these Nullius...
Yeah, you're right, Tech Tim. It's basically gearing for dummies now.
Minions marked, you absolutely want to kill them. That's because they'll upgrade the Nemesis Strongbox, and you'll want to do that because it'll just have more crests and a bunch of useful items. Plus, if you go and kill Nullius himself in the Torment Rise Delve, you'll get crests that don't count towards your cap, which is brilliant. You get 30 hero crests for the easy tier, and then 30 of both hero and myth crests for the hard tier, which, by the way, is actually doable already here.
Yeah, but I believe this is a one-time thing. I don't think you can go farm him every single week for crests that don't count towards your cap. I think it's a one-time deal.
In fact, it's doable so quickly that the leaderboards for it filled up within hours of the season.
Yeah, once per account. Yeah,
kind of blow. But with all that done, we have a lot of gear, so it's now time to group up. Step 3.5, Mythic Zero Dungeons. And yes, I really did say that, Mythic Zeros. You see, with the launch of this season, dungeons have rotated over, where instead of the 8 Midnight Dungeons, we now have the current season's roster, which is 4 Midnight Dungeons, and then 4 Old Dungeons, which have basically been redesigned and tweaked up. These are available on Mythic Zero, they have a daily loot lockout, and they drop champion gear. And this is huge. It is extremely generous compared to, well, champion gear being normally on weekly lockouts elsewhere. And the great thing is they're also not all that much harder than they were last week. So if you like doing dungeons, just go do all of these and you'll actually get quite a lot of champion gear. Now, there's a good reason why I have these down as step 3.5 in the guide, and that's because while they're great, dungeon gear is farmable, and with Mythic Plus out next week, farming low champion gear right now is basically a lot of effort for what ultimately will be a short-term gain. But if you enjoy dungeons, it's a good option, and if you're thinking about the dungeon row of your Great Vault, well, the Great Vault reward for these is still just champion gear, so if you want something a bit more long-term and efficient, well, move on to step 4. But if you're already watching this and Mythic Plus is already out, then my advice is essentially the usual. Just farm out as much as you can be bothered to do. That's how M Plus works.
Nice.
Step 4 is raids. This one could be efficient, but it may not be thrilling. So you may want to queue up for LFR raid. And that's because it's a low effort chance at getting some veteran gear. More importantly, there's the other reason why you do this, and that is your tier gear. So, like usual, the tier set bonus is actually strong enough that it's absolutely worth rushing towards it. That's reason enough to go and hit up LFR.
Getting tier set bonus early in the season is important, and I mentioned this morning, getting a 4 set on your account, or it's supposed to be character specific, don't know if it will be, because it's not right now, will give you the chance for more catalyst charges to drop. That's new to midnight, so catalyst charges will be dropping from your boss kills in Mythic Plus and a raid once you have a 4 set bonus on your character.
But this time round, there's actually more reason than normal. And that's because normally rushing to get tier, even from LFR, would leave you stuck with, yes, tier gear, but veteran track gear, which isn't particularly good. And then all you could do is wait weeks for catalyst charges to eventually turn your veteran drops into tier gear. But in Midnight, getting your 4 set gives you this achievement.
Yeah,
and this achievement lets catalyst charges drop from random bosses.
And Blizzard did this, as I said before, because people used to just hoard their catalyst charges for hero track gear, because who the fuck's going to waste a catalyst charge on a piece of veteran or champion gear when you're just going to, that's not end game really. So people would save their catalyst charges. Now you don't have to do that anymore. That you're actually incentivized to use your catalyst charges as quick as possible to get a 4 set bonus to then unlock this, which will just guarantee like, oh, you're going to just be, these things are going to be dropping and you're going to have plenty of catalyst charges when you finally get that hero track gear.
That means, in theory, that you should never be stuck with a tier replacement piece that you can't actually use.
Right.
Because you'll be able to get more catalyst charges. This really is huge. And remember that we start the season with 1 charge of the catalyst, which can really help you finish your first 2 or 4 set bonus real quick. And it's also worth knowing you'll get a bonus charge of the catalyst from completing any of the Champion of Dawn requirements, but unless you're a PvPer or the kind of player who really doesn't need a guide like this, you probably won't get that achievement anytime soon, or at least not within week 1. Obviously, tier gear can drop on any raid difficulty. I'm just calling out LFR here because you can go and do it immediately without having to wait in your guild. If you want other gear though, then go, obviously, raid normal and heroic. I don't have any particular tips beyond just taking a look at this chart of the item level drops and reminding you that there are actually 2 raids this time. The Void Spire has got 6 bosses, then there's 1 boss in the Dream Rift, and on March 31st, March Unquelled Nas will open up with 2 bosses. Right. So, do as many of them as you can.
So much raiding this season.
Get all the gear and crests that you could want. Step 5, crafting. Okay, this is actually the fun bit. So if you've made it this far, then you're out of weekly sources of gear, and you've got a whole stack of crests. And that means it's time to think about crafting and upgrading. By now, you should have 4 crafting sparks, which will be enough to craft 2 items or a single 2-handed weapon. Now, during the War Within, our crafting advice was very simple, but this time it is actually a bit more complicated. If you use your sparks in a crafting order, then you'll get 3 options. At max quality, a spark item with no crests is eye level 259. If you add 80 hero crests, that will jump to eye level 272. And if you add 80 myth crests, that will hit eye level 285.
Damn,
pretty huge item level.
Yeah,
now, the prevailing advice for mythic raiders is to do a crestless craft this week. And I basically do agree, because you can recraft it later using your rather whopping 80 myth crests to get yourself a high-level mythic weapon.
True.
Now, using hero crests immediately is actually a bit of a trap. If you do that, I think you're essentially totally wasting them if you plan to use the myth ones later. And if
Oh,
you're
so you could just skip over the hero track upgrade and go straight to the myth one. So I could see how that would be a waste if you did the hero one.
worried about getting myth crests, just remember they come from tier 11 delves once you hit 4 on the Delver's Journey.
Okay.
It's a slow source, but it is a reliable one. Though, if you want to get them quickly, then the best way to do that is to spam Mythic plus 9 or higher once Mythic Plus opens. As for what to craft, basically it's weapons with the right embellishments. That's almost always the answer. And if you want to know what the right embellishments are for your particular case, well, class guides have pretty much all done the maths
crafting,
for you,
man.
so go hit up your guide of choice.
You gotta open up a textbook to know what the fuck to craft.
For your class, and
why can't we just have a simple system?
Just, of course, make sure to actually use them. Step 5.5, housing. This one is out of left field, but you can get a big stack of crests of your choice from housing by doing this extremely challenging quest. These count towards your cap, so I would recommend picking champion. That's just because there's a 400 cap on champion crests to start, while heroes only got a cap of 100. But okay, by this stage of the guide, you've done some crafting, you probably have a huge pile of crests, so let's talk about what to do with them.
I make crafting seem so complicated. I don't know. Maybe it's not that complicated. I just don't take the time to figure it out and really understand it. I did a little bit last season when I had to craft the weapon and shit. So like it made a little bit of sense to me. I just think there's a lot of shit that goes into it. And the recrafting and the embellishments and all that shit. I think the embellishments, why do we even have that? Just tell me I need some fucking ore and some shit and put it all together and craft it and bam, I got my weapon. That's it.
Step 6. Farm him, cap him, and stick him in your gear. It's basically just all about crests, because by now you've done absolutely everything except infinitely farm dungeons, and that means you can spend your crests. And thankfully, you can now do it without having to worry about Valor Stones. Now, instead of a specific rigid strategy, I would say...
It's true, like somebody did handhold me through the crafting system, but like what I'm saying essentially is like, but what if you don't have a handholder? You really do got to take some time to understand that system and read some guides on it, because like intuitively in the game, it's not that understandable. Yes, they have the slots and you got to figure out what what you need for your class, but it's just like, I don't know, I feel like they overcomplicate it a little bit. I think it'd be easier if it was just like some resources and that's it.
Spend them on whatever you want, but following some general rules of thumb. Those basically are weapon first, then chest, head, and legs, then shoulders, waist, hands, feet, and your good trinkets, and then your bracers and your jewelry last.
Got it.
That's the order in which you should be upgrading your gear using crests. Though there is a bit of a trick. You can spend lesser crests to finish an item and skip one upgrade step on the next tier up. Now that's a bunch of words, so I'll work you through an example. Say your champion 1 out of 6 gear is eye level 246. To get that to eye level 250, you would need to spend 20 champions crests. But here's the thing. Veteran 6 out of 6 gear is eye level 250. So if you get a veteran item to eye level 250 using veteran crests, then that will actually trigger a free upgrade for your now lower item level champion item, meaning you can get it from 246 to 250 literally
just for free. Some gold.
Now, this principle holds for...
I believe the gold is still there as a cost for the upgrade. But yeah, you don't have to spend crests then. So you essentially save your higher level crests because you use lower level crests to push up to that item level and unlock a free upgrade for your next for that next time you upgrade something.
For the next steps as well, so do keep it in mind.
So, it still costs
it's not
gold.
Huge, but
minor.
Across a bunch of upgrades on all your gear throughout a season, it could actually
might as well
up.
Be free.
Now, if you've still got crests to farm, just go do whatever you want. Champion crests and below can be farmed in Prey and Delves, and then anything higher is basically just farmable in Mythic Plus, if of course M+ is open when you're watching this video. Or you could go with our most radical suggestion, and that's to go and do something else, because next weekly reset will bring a bunch more gear that's way easier than just farming out infinity dungeons to squeeze tiny little bits of progress. Just go have fun.
Go ahead, go touch grass.
WoW. Or if you do want it to be WoW, just go do an alt. Alts have literally never been better. There's a 50% crest discount once your main has outgrown your alt. And because Valor Stones aren't a thing, it's actually really easy to just hop over to an alt and start playing and actually start getting real tangible gear upgrades, especially since so many things in the game are warband wide. It's honestly quite huge, and if you're thinking about an alt, well, I think stocks are currently very bullish for Taurens right now, especially Tauren
Time
Paladins.
to raid, boys. That's right.
And if you don't know why, well, find out in this
Tech Tim, I'll explain it here in a second. Yeah, so nice video overall from Bellular. What I really like about this season is there is a general flow state to gearing out. It makes a lot of sense, like in terms of what you should be doing. Prey to Delves to Mythic Plus and raiding. It just... Oh, bless me. I'm allergic to gearing, I guess. It just makes sense now. All the systems are kind of interconnected where it really does make sense on how to spend your time. And if you spend your time efficiently, you're going to gear out a lot and fill out your vault pretty well every single week. Now, in terms of the gearing out and the upgrade system, so I'll show you this real quick. So this right here shows you how the crest upgrade system works, the upgrade system works in general. And you see there's an overlap here between each set. So Veteran overlaps with Champion at 2 different item levels. Here at the top of Veteran overlaps with the bottom of Champion at 2 item levels. And same with Champion to Heroic. When you push your item level up to a certain level, everything below it becomes free to upgrade at that point. So if you have Champion level crests, we're going to use Champion and Heroic because that's going to be where people really save a lot here. So say you're upgrading Champion level gear, right? By using Champion crests, you can push your Champion level gear all the way to 263. But and you could do the same with Heroic level 2, but that essentially puts you at a Heroic level 2 item level. Now, if you push it to 263, this upgrade from 1 to 2 becomes free for Heroic. So you don't have to spend Hero crests anymore to do this. So it's better to spend the Champion crest to push up to 263 and not have to use Hero crests to go from here to here anymore. Now you just use Hero crests to go from here to here, if that makes sense. This essentially becomes free then. You could go from here to here with Hero crests, but why would you do that if you can use Champion crests to go from here to here instead and make this single upgrade free? And that goes for every single slot here. So if you push Hero all the way to here, then this first upgrade for Myth becomes free. You don't have to use Myth Track crests anymore. And that's what he's talking about. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, good. So that's how that system works. I've mentioned this before. It's a good system. Fine, makes sense to me. And overall, like I said, the gearing path and everything in Midnight, I think, is one of the best we've seen so far in quite a while. Nice video overall from Bellular.